Why do American Jews fail to appreciate the level of disrespect that President Obama has for the safety and security of Israel, calling Netanyahu a chicken? And
because he hates Jews.
See that? I don't even go that far.
Well, I do.
Listen, I think maybe we'll couple
I think
this.
he hates America. He hates everything about him. He hates I think he hates
And that guy who stands up to him, so he won't be like anybody.
Let's couple this question with another question: what to do about Iran protecting Israel? Listen. No one's going to argue that that Obama has. Let's just say what we all agree upon before we get into the debate, okay? That he has done things and said things and taken stances that no other president has done. For example, he presented as a baseline for the pre-67 borders. What do we do? Listen, the Jews in America have traditionally been very, very left-leaning, democratic. As to why, it's one of the unanswered questions. I noticed in the very interesting. I was looking at the last week. We brought in the Pew poll as to what Jews in America, what do they care about? What do they care? What's important? What's essential to being Jewish? But in that same research document, it talks about the political affiliations of Jews. And it seems like the more observant you are, the more likely you are to be Republican, versus the least observant you are, the more likely you are to be a Democrat, which is I found very interesting. But you do find that I guess more of the traditional values somewhat links with more of the platform of the
Republicans. I think respect spirituality more than Democrats in general.
Yeah, and support of Israel usually is going to be more fierce the more someone is going to be involved in Jewish community and Jewish synagogue.
We also say that observant Jews are used to looking at Torah text and making sure that everything they do reconciles with that text, as certain Republicans look at the Constitution and make sure what they're doing fits into that text.
Maybe, but listen. Both I'd say both observant Jews and generally in the Republican or the right of the political spectrum in America are going to have more of a traditional perspective of the government and what the government should do, what the government should not do, and of kind of the morality and the moral fiber of America, and kind of the religious right. So I think there's going to be a lot of overlap between the worldviews.
But the way Dan framed the question, with all respect, it was almost like you're saying
what he was. Yeah, go ahead.
The Constitution and religion are exclusive, are not the same thing, and they're not. But certainly the framers of our country, and this was very clear in the Declaration of Independence, believed in God. And they said that. They talked about that rights came from God.
Oh, yeah.
Jefferson was a deist. He was not a Christian.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, but you said Republicans go for the Constitution and...
No. He was making...
We're used to looking at text and being loyal to that. I think, and I find way more political than I would normally get.
Why is 78% of the Jews go to Obama?
What was the issue? What was the question? Is it related to Iran? Perhaps we should go back.
Listen, we have a back here. It doesn't bode well. Does not bode well. You know what? I think we have to be very thankful that both sides of the aisle in America are, when Netanyahu's going to speak in Congress, he's going to get probably 35 standing ovations, and everyone is going to be standing, no matter what Democrat, Republican, or affiliation they're going to have. Oh, of course he's going to speak. Yeah.
He's going to speak on Iran.
And Senator Menendez, Democrat
in
New Jersey, said I can't stand either, but he said the administration's talking points were written in Tehran.
He was very shocked.
Listen, my personal perspective on nuclear Iran, I strongly believe that we'll never have a nuclear conflict where actual nuclear weapons are deployed on either side. That's what I strongly believe. I understand if you want to argue on that. Listen, the Shiite Muslims are very different than the Sunnis. They're much more radical, much more kind of apocalyptic. And, I think...
How can you say they won't be deported?
I tell you my personal belief. They want it to be the point. The balance of power and what could happen and how there could be an ultimate showdown,
If they're that apocalyptic, that seems like it's all the more reason for them to want to keep
okay, so my belief is born out of the teachings of Ramchal Luzzatto that you asked, who talks about kind of the leash that the Almighty gives to evil in the world and how it's a limited leash. While the Almighty basically lets evil run, run amok, there are limitations on that. And one of the limitations would be destruction of the world. And we talk about nuclear warfare and the ability for humans to trigger basically mass destruction on a global scale. Luzzatto writes, and I'm thus comforted that can never happen. I understand what you would argue that it could happen, and irrespective of it happening, I think a shift in a deterrent. The nuclear deterrent, that's very dangerous. Listen, I don't know what we could do. I mentioned this before. I'll say it again. I do think that we have a tendency to underestimate the power of ISIS, but sanctions. I think now that the price of oil is very unfavorable for the Houston economy, very favorable for making Iran have to deal with its own internal problems and how they remain solvent when their only export dropped 70%, whatever in value. They're only, you don't really see, you don't go to the Toys R Us and say,
more desperate to get that.
maybe, but I usually think when the financial noose is tightened, I think that does have.
That's why the Saudis did not cut the production.
Yeah, because it does hamper. Listen, I think these are big issues, and I'm very happy that Netanyahu and the good people, good folks in Congress, and maybe we can't really rely on anyone else, basically, but that this is an important issue. I don't know what to say.
Iran wanting to assassinate Netanyahu.
Oh, I saw that.
Yeah, this is just...
It's fear-mongering.
Getting out of hand.
Yeah, it is getting out of hand,
It
exactly.
actually isn't fear-mongering at all,
Well, we just
because
hit
they
the
did make the
Huh?
attempt.
We killed one of their generals.
Listen,
You haven't killed enough of them.
No.
I
The
think
whole
that...
issue is if they get the daggone bomb, they're going to wipe out Israel. That's the whole philosophy.
We're going to wipe out a lot of other stuff around.
Yeah, but see, Rabbi, when you say, I understand maybe your point about the whole world getting destroyed. The point is, if Iran gets the bomb, which I think is very likely if we don't act, or if Israel doesn't act, it's not going to end the world. Could end Israel, or it could end a lot of lives in that area. It's not, they don't have the ability to launch it over here yet. Now, maybe they could smuggle it in here, and that could do some damage.
Listen,
not gonna end the world.
it's a fair. The question is, as a practicality, what can we do sitting here? Of course, I think, of course, we have
We're all
to.
concerned about Pakistan getting nuclear.
Yeah, but they don't have the ideological...
I thought Pakistan has it already. Pakistan has it.
Yeah, but when they got it, about, 10 years ago, and they had the whole thing with
Well,
India.
maybe, but they haven't done anything. They haven't done anything.
Yeah, they were fighting over the Kashmir
Well,
region.
they always fight over the country.
Listen, it's a dangerous world that we live in, and of course, I think this is an issue of paramount concern for us, for Jews in support of Israel, and we'll see how it plays out. I don't know what we could do today.
Hypothetically, you're Benjamin Netanyahu, okay, and your intelligence experts tell you they've got it. They have the bomb.
Yeah.
We've got to either act now or we're gone. What do you do?
Listen, I think that
I don't think
Israeli leader. I think if they had the potential to do it, and they knew for sure that they had to do it alone, they would do it, no question. Because you know what, they did it in Syria in 2007. They did it in Iraq in 1981. They did it in 1967 in Egypt in the preemptive strike. They do it.
It's a much more protected project.
It's
So
much
you think-
bigger.
you don't
It's
think they can do it?
I think they probably have. I hope they have a plan. I think obviously it would be ideal for it to be resolved on diplomatic terms, of course, and I think it could potentially. It could in a way that the Iranians get to save face. And yes, I think that if it won't be resolved diplomatically, I think Israel perhaps may be compelled to take action on their own. I'm sure they have a plan. It may involve assassinating all their nuclear scientists. It may involve some sort of computer virus, or it may involve sending, the courageous members of the Israeli Air Force to bomb the place back to the Stone Age. And we got to pray to the Almighty that such a mission is successful.
And they're deep underground now.
Got to use those Moabs,
Yeah.
bunker busters.
Yeah, but they didn't go.
Well,
They got him just
The new ones they might.